Welcome to part 4 of my hiking and history video series, walking the entire length of the Hadrian's Wall path. This is part 4, so I've already walked from Wallsend in Newcastle upon Tyne all the way to a place called Once Brewed. So in this video I will be passing the halfway point of the entire trip and coming from the most remote areas, slowly descending to more flatter terrain and ending at the village of Lanercost. Whilst the most spectacular section of the wall may have been behind me at this point, this day really surprised me with just how much there was still left to see of the wall and how good the views were, especially on the last remaining crags, and there was even a surprise castle. So join me now on this latter half of this epic trek through the remaining section of the Northumberland National Park and heading into the beautiful county of Cumbria. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hiking and History, day 4 and part 4 of the Hadrian's Wall walk. So yeah, this series of videos walking all along the Hadrian's Wall path from back in Newcastle, Wallsend, all the way to Bowness on Solway. Yeah, yesterday was day 3 and we basically walked all the best bits of Hadrian's Wall now, although I still think we've got like a decent portion of it left, probably the last decent portion before day 5 and 6, where we start coming into Carlisle and going on further where there's going to be barely any wall, but we're walking the whole length of where Hadrian's Wall would have gone. It's been a lot of fun so far, especially yesterday. Even though the weather took a turn for the worse, we still got some good views of the wall heading all over these crags, and which I'm just heading back up to now to start again from where I started yesterday, and we're heading east that way today to a place called Brampton. That's where I'm finishing today, which is a good while away, so I need to get my skates on. As you can see, I'm wearing my coat today because which I haven't been in the other videos, because it's actually, the temperature has dropped quite a bit. It's certainly chillier than it was the past 3 days. It's been so still and like really warm. Having the coat on actually makes it easier for my backpack because I've just got more cushioning on my shoulders, so it actually feels a lot lighter. So I should be able to move quicker, hopefully, because I have been going fairly slowly, but that's not the case today. Got to get to Brampton, which is quite a while off, so let's get back up here and get on the trail. So this beautiful location that we're coming up to, where we ended yesterday, is called Peel Gap, this ridgeline here, and there is a tower, a defensive turret. Let's get a shot of it in a sec here, just down here. We should see the foundations of it, or not. You can just about, it is just there, the turret, which is interesting because it actually diverts from the rigid system that the Romans did of having the mile castles and then 2 turrets in between. This is like an extra turret, which suggests apparently that this was like a weak spot where maybe people were getting through and stuff, so they built an extra turret there, which is quite interesting. But we're not heading that way, that's the way we came from. We are going up this way. You do get a sense that perhaps because of these ridge lines, but then it dips here, that maybe it was a weak spot that people were getting through, so that's why they built another tower there. It's the only one I've come across yet that says they built an extra tower, otherwise they were very rigid with this system. But then it joins up here and the wall continues. You can see once again, while the wall here is overgrown, but our good old friend the ditch, the Roman ditch that they built just in front of the wall, so they could, well, make it easier to defend, just to make sure anyone coming over couldn't really scale it, because they would have been trapped in this ditch. Still a very pretty part here of Hadrian's Wall. It's now been replaced by just a typical dry stone wall, which would just represent where it would be going. The ditch is on the other side. Well, the ditch probably isn't there anymore because we're getting close to pretty sheer crags, which they wouldn't need to do the ditch on. Weather today is just cloudy. At least, hopefully, fingers crossed, shouldn't be any rain. If there is, it'd be very light. That I'm happy about. Again, shame that it's not sunny and clear. I think I had all the best weather I'm going to get at the very start, day 1 and day 2. Possibly the very last day I might get good weather as well. Once again, when there's barely any wall and probably not that much interesting stuff, but I'll get a nice coastal view with the sun, hopefully. Oh, the ditch is still there, you can just see it. Beautiful view of kind of what we've done yesterday. Remember that hill there, coming over there, winding down past that, I forgot what that lake's called now, but that was gorgeous on that ridge there, and then down to my accommodation down there. Looks like we've got more rain coming though, like it's very misty here. Hopefully it's just very light kind of spray. I'm actually really happy about the more kind of refreshing wind. It's a bit cooler. It's been awkwardly still and warm, but like really sweaty. Good illustration here of what it would have looked like across these crags. Because this, so it says, and I did forget to mention, is pretty much the halfway point of the wall. I have done half of it, which isn't that comforting actually. That feels like, oh god, feels like I should have done more than half of it now. Somewhere around here as well is the highest point that the wall was built on, so for the most part the next half, the final half, will be descending and sort of hopefully relatively easier. There we are, halfway point, milestone. Hooray. This is very pretty though, along this crag here. It's a shame the full wall doesn't survive, although it does up there. You can just see it. So here's dry stone wall, but we've got more of Hadrian's coming up just here, so that's nice. Fantastic views, would be absolutely awesome if it was clear, but as you can see, the wall is starting to build up next to the dry stone wall, and then as you can see up here, we've got it back, probably only for a very short section, but it's nice to see bits of it still surviving, because it's going to get less and less now the further west we go. I think we're going to still see a decent amount of it today, but then it's just going to keep reducing and reducing. Yeah, this is beautiful up here. Here we are, we've got the waypoint here, so this, I imagine, is the highest point on Windshield Crag and the highest point that Hadrian's Wall ever reached. Which, I mean, it's not like crazy high or anything, but it's something for sure. So now we are technically only descending properly. Obviously we'll go down and then up again, but we're never going to get higher than this on the route. I do love it when you can see it twisting around the hills. I think it might go to a bit of the original wall again, a bit further down. That part of it looks thicker than this part, so very misty but absolutely gorgeous up here. I'm glad I'm not coming up the other way this way, because this is quite a big ascent if you're coming from west to east. But luckily, looks like the hills are just getting smaller and smaller now, so soon enough, I think all these crags and stuff will be over and I can get on flatter ground, which I know isn't as pretty and beautiful, but when you've been walking for 4 days straight, you're kind of over it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be happy for like flat ground now. Carlisle, bring me Carlisle. I want a Tesco, something where I can actually just get crap food. And the food out in the country is way better, but you know, sometimes you just need a pot noodle, you know, you just need shit. So I'm on my way to Carlisle for shit food. It is amazing to think that they built it all out here, so remote, all across these crags and hills, and it was still the same. It was still, well, at this point it would have been the narrower wall, like 1.9 meters or something like that, and still, you know, possibly like 3, 4, 5 meters high. Just where they got all the stone quarried from, just absolutely huge undertaking to get it all up here. And literally not, which that kind of what amazes me the most, is that it's not built by slaves. I mean, you know, it's not like a moral decision. Roman Empire had tons of slaves, had slaves all over. I don't know, I don't really hear about slaves that much here in Britain though, so I'm sure they probably did enslave the original Britons, but I think they interbred with them and stuff, didn't they, as well? So I don't know, there was a lot of different tribes and stuff back then, wasn't there? So maybe some were enslaved, but maybe they just didn't have enough of them really to do it, so they just, literally the legionaries, the soldiers, just fucking about 10 years. I mean, my guidebook said it took you know, no more than 10 years to build, but then I've gone past the information board that said it took 6 years to build. So I don't know, between those two, either one is impressive. For just the soldiers just building this out here in all weathers, like imagine winter and stuff out here, would be absolutely brutal. Although I think it was warmer back then. I mean, obviously they still had winter, but I know in Roman times, so like 2,000 years ago, they used to grow grapes up here, like quite far north, but they used to just grow them in England, which you can't do anymore because there was a warmer climate. And that's why even here, you know, they still wore the Roman, like the armoured skirts and all that, because unless it was winter, you actually could do that. It was a warmer climate. Oh, look at these, beautiful. This is a very dramatic down and up. I think I've got the luckier side though. I think coming down this is steeper and it rises a bit more gently up that side, but still a big climb. Gotta be one of the last ones now. Just gotta be careful descending because these stones are actually quite slippy. Even with decent shoes on, some of them are very smooth. Oh, look at this, beautiful. Just going across there. There's definitely a bit of the wall there, I can tell it's wider. And then over there, that might be the last one, last hill possibly. There, yep. Hadrian's Wall starts again just here. Rain is picking up a bit now. It's, well, rain, it's more just spray, but not helpful. There we are, section of the wall again. Going over these last couple of crags. It's actually quite rainy now, well, the spray is getting a bit heavier, which it didn't say was here for today, but I think it's just an unfortunate little rain cloud. I don't think it'll be like this all day. Yeah, decent section of it here still remaining. Looks like there's probably a turret here. There's a little information board just up ahead. I could be wrong, but you can see this sort of ditch here, but on the other side of the wall, because obviously they don't need a ditch for that side. That side's Scotland, so this would have been Roman Britain. But I think that might be the vallum. I've talked about it in previous videos, the sort of area they cleared out, cleared all the trees so many metres behind the wall, and they dug a ditch that side as well, just to sort of, is it like to mark the military zone of the wall. And I think that's probably it. It looks like it. I don't know why else it would be there, that ditch. It's the best view I've had of it so far, because I've seen the parts where it's like, okay, it's clearly been cleared of like trees completely and all that kind of stuff, and the ground's been flattened a bit maybe, but no, I've never seen the ditch the other side, and I think that must be it. It's got to be said actually that this is probably maybe the longest unbroken section I've been on of the whole wall so far on part 4. It's on less impressive ground, so I understand why it doesn't get as much exposure or talked about, but it's actually quite a long section, completely unbroken, and it comes to one of the mile castles here by the looks of it. Another one of the mile castles here. And this is where the ridge would start if you were going the other way. But then the wall comes up here, but there's a dead end. You go through that gate to follow it properly. By the looks of it, there's just, well, it says sudden drop. So yeah, it must break just over there, which is why we go down that path. But I want to get a good view of the mile castle from up here. So yes, that's where the wall does go, and there is a very sudden just cliff face drop, so it must follow just around there, which isn't accessible, so you come across this path instead. But this is a very nice little lake here. This would be a perfect little spot if it wasn't raining, just to chill and have a bit of food, picnic, whatever you like. Absolutely gorgeous here. But alas, the rain is coming down even harder at the moment. My weather forecast is completely wrong. It's really holding out that it's not going to be like this for the whole day. The rain has eased a little bit now. Just had a little shortcake thing, shortbread, from little van there at that car park where this quarry is. So again, I think part 4 from day 4, from what I've looked at it as well on my map, is that there are more, not like big shops or anything, but there are things along the way which you know, you can, I mean, you could buy bottles of water from her. She didn't have any pop or anything, she didn't have any like Fanta. That's what I'm kind of after. I just feel like I've been drinking water now just constantly for days, which is obviously very good, but I just want a bit of a taste for something. But she only had cans, and I don't really want to lug a can around. Very nice little stream here, but yeah, I don't want to lug a can around and drink it all in one go. But I know there is another thing, another kind of shop about 3 miles away now, so yeah, I think I'm heading this way. Rain has cleared. We've got the ditch just to the right of us, heading up this way, and then just behind us you can see the ridges in the distance where we've come from. So now, more than likely, a lot flatter ground, going through countryside, and probably much less Hadrian's Wall. I think we've got still little bits, some forts and things here and there, probably ones you have to pay for, but we shall see along the way. We have the slightest, faintest trace of blue sky up there, as it's got a little bit nicer now. Very muddy in this field though, so I'm going to have to just go round to that stile. And just in this farmyard, I think we have some remains of Hadrian's Wall. Just here, randomly, maybe one of the forts because it's built out a bit. Possibly one of the forts because the ditch is there. So you can see where the wall would run along. But it looks like it's too big for a turret, so possibly one of the forts. Or a mile castle, sorry, probably a mile castle. It would be marked somewhere if it was one of the forts, I think. Although I think some of them are still unexcavated properly. This section now, just as you're passing through, quite a lot of farmers' fields, just straight through them. Beautiful views though, nice countryside. And the weather's gone much better now. There's a bit of a breeze. I'm drying off. Just my luck though, like if it was like this up on the crags, we probably would have got pretty good views of the wall snaking through the landscape, but just my luck. It's all coming afterwards. Another beautiful stretch here though of the dry stone wall representing Hadrian's Wall. There's a ditch on the other side. Some surprising lot of crags though, a lot of ups and downs still going on around here. We're actually getting very brief little breaks in the cloud where we're getting a bit of sunshine, which is incredible how it's changed within like half an hour. Good view of the distance we've come from top of that hill, a bit further back from there. I think that's probably the bit that was the highest point of Hadrian's Wall, all sloping down and climbing up here now. Climb quite a bit again. Massive crag here, goes straight down. I'm actually on the wall now because I'm just going to reach the top of this and have a little break. I've not really had a proper break at all yet since I started, so with a nice view like this, with the wind up here, that'll cool me down nicely. Ooh, yeah, it's a windy spot this, but there are still some decent sized little crags right at the end here, so I'll be going down there and up this one, and that's where I've been. Tiny remains of the wall still, just here. Absolutely stunning views. Even though you're not really supposed to climb on the wall on this section, it's certainly better because you can't see anything from that little path there. And here you can see everything. Oh my god, there's more. I keep thinking it's the last crag, and then again down and up. And it looks like there's another few there as well, bloody hell. Great views though. Might be the last we see of those crags there, the highest point, as we seem to be descending a lot lower. Very windy up on these ones. It's lovely though, it's keeping me cool. Oh yeah, and there's the remains of a little fort here, or a turret. Looks like a turret, I think. That's cool. And then just over those ones, there's smaller crags, and probably in the distance there. So it looks like a more gradual climb. It's a beautiful turret, that is. That one just there, perched right on the edge here and looking over. Absolutely stunning. Another sharp drop along these crags. Gotta be the last few. If you know anything about me, I don't know why they've put this up. I always complain about this stuff. It's fucking barbed wire as well. Unless it's for the sheep, I suppose, if the sheep go on the edge and tumbling off, but I feel like I don't know, they're not that stupid, are they? Either way, if this is here for humans, fuck them. If someone falls off, they fall off. But that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful up here now from this watchtower here. Another turret, Walltown Crags. And the sun has come out as well. Just absolutely perfect. The view that they must have had from these watchtowers. With the, you know, you imagine the wall fully built, snaking all around there, you'd be able to see it all. Literally, kind of like the Great Wall of China. I don't know what was built first actually. I have no idea when the Great Wall of China was built. Is it? I could be so completely wrong here. Is it like, I don't know, like 1200s or 1500s or something? I'm probably way off. It's probably like before Roman times even. I don't even know. But it's literally perched right on the edge. Stunning. Another fairly long stretch of wall over this crag, Walltown, and I think I'm descending now into like a quarry, and there is apparently a small shop, so I might be able to get myself a proper drink. Fingers crossed. First shop in like nearly 3 days. Another dramatic drop here. Looks like the wall probably ends here because then it goes dry stone, and that is probably the quarry where I'm heading. Hopefully the building's there, is where a shop is. So not far at all now. I think I'm about halfway through the day, or almost. So I've made fairly good progress. Especially seems that most of that, the majority of where I've just walked was kind of craggy, so very up and down. So if it flattens out more the further I keep going, which it kind of looks like it, or very gentle rolling hills, then yeah, maybe it won't take me too long to reach the end of today, which for me is a town called Brampton, which again unfortunately is like an extra hour on top of my guidebook. I'm just leaving Walltown Quarry, County Park, and it looks like buses come up here and everything from local towns, which is useful. I went into the shop, there is a shop there, but disappointed because everything that they've got, where am I going, which way? Yeah, I do need to go to that castle actually, yeah, that way. So everything that they got is all in glass bottles, so any kind of like lemonade, anything with like a taste to it, all glass bottles. And then they've got plenty of bottled water. I don't need bottled water, I've got water with me still. They did also sell sandwiches there, but I mainly just wanted a drink from there, and it seems that they've only got like cans or glass bottles, which I don't want. There's like a tea room, also like really close by now, so that I was going to actually stop at as well for like, I don't know, a cake or something. So I'm just risking it. I'm going to go there and hope that they've got some kind of bottled drink that I can take there, but we shall see. It's gone really nice now, but there are a lot of clouds in the sky, so I think it's just going to be patchy all day, hopefully. And we're back to following our favourite ditch. As you can see ahead, it looks like your more typical English countryside now, the rolling green hills, and that's what's behind me, those crags, the famous part of Hadrian's Wall. Looks like it's all in the past now, and we're probably just going to get very small sections of wall remaining and the Roman ditch all the way to Brampton first, and then tomorrow on to Carlisle, and then the day after that all the way to the coast. Literally out of nowhere, this castle has appeared. I knew there was a castle sort of near the trail, but I thought it was a little bit off. But you just descend this forest and you can't see it at all, and then it just appears. It's a Thirlwall Castle, it's called. I think it said it was built in the 13th century, made by stone stolen from Hadrian's Wall as well. So bloody hell, look at that. It's been abandoned since the 17th century. All it says in my guidebook about it is that when it was built, it was just a place that helped prevent raids from Scotland during the 15th and 16th centuries. How cool is that? Surprise little castle. What a stunning little area this is. This is like prime British countryside. Bloody castle right there as well. What an impressive little surprise this. I didn't think there'd be so big, so much of it left. I mean, it has been plundered, like how it says over the centuries, but bloody hell, this would have been an impressive family home back in the day. Wow. Nice illustration there of what it might have been like. It was the second floor that had the Great Hall in it, and then the toilets that had just dropped down the side. Looks like the cattle and all kitchens maybe were below. This would have dominated the landscape back then. 1300s, it's huge, and it would have been a lot taller. It's got a real vibe about it. It's got a real sort of, well, medieval. It's like as classic almost as a castle as you can imagine in a landscape where none of this is here. It's just the rolling hills and a road perhaps, and just some very wealthy, rich baron type guy. Look at the walls, and they would have been even taller. And the trail now goes along this way, but I'm heading this way because the tea room is down here, so I'm going to hopefully get a drink and a sandwich or a cake or something, and then I'll be back along here over this beautiful stream. This is an absolutely gorgeous area, this valley where the castle is. Absolutely stunning down here. So yes, not too far down here there is a tea room. So there are places fairly close on day 4 of this walk where you can stop. Like, I mean, I could have already got some stuff from that quarry, but they didn't have what I really wanted, so I've been fussy and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, taking a risk and hoping that this tea room, which is a bit of a bigger place, has just a lemonade or something, you know, anything like that. That's where I've come from. You come down this side. Yeah, beautiful area now. I mean, the weather really does help as well. And just like that, I'm done with my little break. Great little tea room there. You can like serve burgers and stuff, it said on the board. I just had a piece of cake and a drink there. I'm not that hungry yet, so I didn't really want to go all out, especially because in Brampton, that's how we'll be eating there, that's where I'm staying. And I'm pretty sure they've got a chippy, so like, oh, cannot wait for that. Filled me water back up as well. So yeah, like, I'm all set now for the next, well, about 3.5 hours probably until the end now. Just gotta go back up this, follow this stream back up to where the Hadrian's Wall path connects, where that castle was. We have actual train tracks. First time we've ever done this. Thirlwell Castle crossing, only cross when it's green. Good old northern trains come across here. I wonder where the nearest stop is, because if I'm coming back one day, that'd be useful to know. Oh, that's nice. Honesty box, little flapjacks and all stuff. Blister kit, that's cool. Last peek at some of the crags just over there. Before now we just have the rolling hills following the dry stone wall, where I'm pretty sure we're still on where the wall would have actually been. Going through here, because you can, up ahead, you can see where the ditch would be. So even though there's probably going to be very few pieces of wall from now on, we'll just have to make do with the dry stone one to represent it. Walking once again right next to the ditch. It is very pronounced now, it's huge. So walking on where the wall would have been. Yeah, as expected now, it's just sort of rolling countryside through farms and very teeny tiny villages, following the ditch really. A lot of the time we're in the ditch. Wall would have been there, ditch here, just sheep for company. I think we're coming up to another mile castle here as well, which there are remains of, I believe. Just over this bridge with this falls. Wow, look at this. That's the train. I think the train line goes over there. Victorian looking aqueduct to that. So the Hadrian's Wall must have crossed this river as well, if it was here back then, because we have more wall peeking out here. Who would know? So I think the Mile Castle must be just up these steps. And yes, there is, in that tiny little village, one of the Mile Castles. It's actually on the signs to the village, it says it's the best preserved Mile Castle on the route. I mean, the village could just be saying that, but it actually is pretty decent. Like, you can see like each of the little bunks and houses and stuff pretty clearly, and they're much higher. And there's like a, whatever that is there, the steps you can see a little bit more clearly. That is a cool one. The whole of this Mile Castle was built on a slope as well, so they had to terrace these buildings properly. And I have found out what that was, that circle thing. It says it is an oven, so the remains of an oven, which is very cool. And this is the only Mile Castle on the entire route that has steps remaining, which I did point out, lucky guess. But yeah, those were likely steps that would lead up to the rampart. Fantastic, that was a good little one. Alright, and now I'm going over this overgrown bit, very narrow section of the path here. Bloody hell it is. Although it did say something about a diversion because you couldn't cross the river. Well, I clearly did cross the river because there was a bridge there, but maybe it's only recently come back. They haven't, none of this has been walked for a while or trimmed down. I mean, there was no other path, pretty sure. Just coming out of that village now. A little bit tricky way out, but found it in the end. Back on to actual wall. So there are little strips of it still. Even here. Interesting little bit of history on that information board. As I've mentioned in previous videos, that the wall was built by legionaries, like the citizen army of Rome, but then it was actually manned by auxiliary troops, so like, you know, sort of second rung, not the main fighters, sort of reserve kind of troops that were from all over the empire. They weren't like native to Rome itself. They weren't like Roman citizens. They were just recruited from around the empire, not slaves. But for them, they were probably, I imagine they would have been like paid less and stuff, but for them, if they served 25 years as Roman auxiliaries, they would then get citizenship. They would become a Roman citizen with all the, you know, privileges that brung. So if they just did a stint on here for 25 years, there you go, that's how you become a Roman citizen. Another turret here, really nice preserved one. So you can still see, even at this turret, that they were building these first. They built all these turrets by the looks of it so far anyway, before the wall caught up with them, because here it is, here's Broad Wall. It was originally built thicker, but by the time they actually got the wall to this place, plans had changed and they had a narrower wall. That's why this juts out here, which is really cool. So they all came out here, all sending all the legionaries to different spots, you know, like a mile apart for the Mile Castles, and then two turrets in between, and they built all these kind of turrets and Mile Castles by the looks of it first, and then, well, you know, and the tiny bit of wall that should have joined to it, but then waited for the wall to be completed. But by the time that happened, plans had changed. That's why it looks thinner there. It looks like it stops here. There we go, that was a nice little section there. Still decent remnants coming down this way. I guess I'm going down here now. So day 4 still has a lot a lot to offer actually, even though it's winding down now as I'm getting closer and closer to Brampton, but there are still lovely countryside, nice streams and things to go across. It's very pleasant, this one. I'm assuming I'm going to be... oh, I don't know actually, there's no sign. Let me figure this one out. Pretty sure I'm just continuing straight on. Looks like it sort of becomes more of the original wall again here. And I think there's a little gate. And my guidebook didn't mention anything about turning right on that point, so yeah, pretty sure by the looks of it. I can see the little acorn, and we have more wall. It's actually a decent amount of it around here. Fortunately, there's no easy way to get here, I don't think. Walking through that little village, Gilland, something like that, there's campaign posters everywhere about wanting to reopen the train station there. I imagine for tourism and all that kind of stuff, which that would be great. You know, if you could get a train here, it'd be a nice section to explore from. You could really walk up to the crags from here. It'd be a full day, but you could do it. Yeah, I don't know why they don't do something like that really. Quite a bit of the wall here, quite tall as well. Yeah, absolutely. Quite a big section here. Again, I'm surprised how much of it's left this way. Maybe that's why it's recommended to do it east to west, because you do get more along the way. Sort of if you're going the other way, if you're going west to east, you kind of, as soon as you get past them crags, there's barely any of it left. This is nice. This is cool, keeping me going. And it's still going, this bit. Hey.
Oh yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I'm very surprised at this stretch, that it continues on for quite a bloody while. Looks like it ends there though, but that was quite a long stretch. I guess that's why they want the train station reopening, because they've actually got a decent amount of wall to look around, especially if you know you can't get up to the crags and stuff. If you're of a certain age or anything like that, you know where the crags are going to be a bit too intense for you. I mean, to be fair, I have been seeing a lot of elderly people on this trek, but you know, if you're too elderly, then something like this would be a pleasant, you know, walk to do. So it ends here on what I thought was a mile castle, but I think it was a bridge actually. Unless it's a bit confusing actually. The course of the river. Okay, I think the course of the river has changed, so it used to come through here. And this bit, because it does look a bit different, would have actually been a bridge that went over it, which is very cool. I imagine that up there is a turret, or just the start of the bridge. Yeah, so the river must have come through here, but it's one of 3 bridges. So like it used to look like that at first, and it got destroyed by flooding. It was then like this for a while, and then they rebuilt it. They've rebuilt it a few times after it being destroyed and, you know, damaged. But that's very cool to know that this was, well, you can hear the stream. It's literally just over there, so it must have just bent through this area nearly 2,000 years ago, and this bridge went over it. And just like that, you could hear the river. Well, here it is with a modern bridge going over it now, not a Roman one. It's a very pretty river. It looks quite shallow, but look at that. Gorgeous. Sit down there on a nice day, go paddling in it. So something quite interesting about this modern bridge is it's literally the first bridge to cross this river since Roman times, the Irthing River. In 1999 this was placed here. which is pretty insane. The first bridge literally since the Romans built, and the area is so kind of fragile archaeologically. I don't know what this is made out of, but there must be a picture of it. It was bloody lifted, a helicopter dropped it down here, which is pretty insane. Rather than dragging all stuff all through the countryside here, just a helicopter will drop it down. This is a nasty surprise of a hill coming out of nowhere. Not what I needed. Wanted to be getting down into Brampton soon, in the next 2 hours or so. Oh, and at the top of that horrible climb, there is another mile castle, number 49. Not that much left of this one, although on the information post there it says that way after in the 17th century it was used as a cottage. Someone built a cottage in here, and it said the foundations are still visible, so it must probably is either this or this. That's the inside bit, is newer stone, but very cool. Again, these little mile castles were perched on some beautiful areas. Oh, let's keep going. Yet again, more wall. Quite a long section. Looks like it ends at this road, but this whole area has a good amount of wall on it. I think that's where I started. Well, no, I didn't start there. I started way further back there, but I think those are the crags that was on a few hours ago. Oh, we've done some travelling. Just come through a little wooded section, and you can see the wall goes all the way around here to a huge area. So this is another one of the forts, but it's one of them ones you have to pay for. I can see English heritage signs up ahead, and there's this whole building complex, so this is going to be one where you have to pay to enter it. Yeah, it's one of the 16 forts built along it, so we'll be skipping past this one. So yes, this is it. Birdoswald, something like Birdoswald Fort. You could also, there is a cafe here as well, so that's another place you could stop. They probably do actually have bottled drinks in there, but I'm sort of close-ish to my end point now anyway, so I might as well just wait until I'm there, to be honest. But lots of ruins outside here. Just another one that you have to pay for, which I think is unforgivable, English heritage, because I know yet again it'll be somewhere ridiculously expensive, probably like a tenner to get in there, maybe more, and it's probably not worth it. I don't know, they've probably got museum items in there which might be worth it, but there is no way I have time to do anything like that now. I think those are separate visits, all the main Roman fortifications along the way. Although it is kind of annoying still, I think it is bad because there are some proper like highlight sections, really good. I mean, the wall's right here though again, but you're kind of missing out on some of the coolest bits of Hadrian's Wall because you're not allowed to walk through them, you're not allowed to see them, you've got to go around. Could kind of understand like paying just to go into a house with all the artifacts and things in them. I'd understand that. Like, you know, if it was just a couple of quid, that's cool. But I mean, the fact that I can just get a free view of it here, like this, is just kind of ridiculous anyway, isn't it? Like, I can see most of it. I know they've obviously got information boards, but I just don't think it should be charged, or if it is charged, it should be so much cheaper, because they really rip you off, I think, English heritage. I mean, there's nothing stopping me just jumping over this now, but it is very cool. You can see lots of the foundations still there. I'm kind of surprised they let you see this much. There we go, Birdoswald Fort. We've seen it once again. Leading up to that fort, Hadrian's Wall just stretches on into the distance, unbroken. So this whole section probably has more wall than yesterday in terms of length of it. It's just not in the more scenic, dramatic landscape. but it's still very cool to see all of it here. Literally right next to just this normal road. You can come and drive along Hadrian's Wall. By the looks of it, there's another turret up here. Yeah, another turret along the way. The other one in this area doesn't exist anymore. It's where that new fort is. So they built, obviously, the forts came afterwards. So they demolished that turret and built the fort on top of it. Oh, I have just had a right scare. Almost lost the camera. I was just over here. I'm currently. I've been here already, but I was over this field, and I was just about to do a bit of recording, and suddenly I'm like, where the hell is my camera? Why is it not on me? And then proceeded to shit myself as I'd clearly dropped it, or it's fallen out of my little holster. Well, holster. I put it between here, and it's really secure usually. But yeah, so I panicked then. I was like, oh, for God's sake! I had to backtrack because I knew I'd used it not too long ago. Really lucky, to be honest. So I had to backtrack pretty much all the way across this field, over there, and back halfway through that field, scouring, because I knew it's obviously, I didn't think I'd placed it anywhere, and it must have fallen out, and the wind isn't strong enough to blow it anywhere, so I knew it's got to be on the path. And luckily, halfway down that field, it was there. You were there, and it does have like a little orange cap on it at the bottom, so that made it easier to spot. But oh, thank God, that was close. It's not even so much the money of the GoPro. It's a GoPro 7. It's not like, I mean, it's, you know, 100 quid or so, but it's the footage. It's fucking everything's on there for the whole trip. These sheep must be so sick of seeing me now going up and down, disturbing them. God. So I've lost probably about 15 minutes there. So that's fun. Look at them two fighting. But grateful that I found it. And then I noticed I was probably a little bit further down here, down this hill, when I noticed. So, whoo, that was a close one. There we go. I've just saved a cow because it was in the field with the sheep when it shouldn't have been, and it's just been mooing its head off at this gate. That's my good deed for today. Hopefully I've not just stolen whoever farmers this on this field, but it sounds like he was pretty distressed and wanted to be back in this field. God knows how he got out. There we go. He'll probably trample on me now. So still just going through fields at the moment. Again, Roman ditch on the left, so the wall would have just been on that embankment. Bloody hell, the Usain Bolt of sheep there, absolutely sprinted then. So hopefully I should be making a bit of a dent now into getting to the end, to Brampton. Still a bit go, I know for sure, but I think I am making a dent. Hopefully it looks much later in the day again than it actually is. It's just, we've got very thick gloomy cloud now to close us out for this final stretch. Ooh, now entering Spooky Wood. Again, ditch just on here going straight through the wood. So we are still following the route. Long road here. Looks like there's another turret there. But I think the path is literally just this main road. There we are. The road has now been built on top of where the wall was. One of the turrets, yeah, there's no way down there, we're just following this. I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit now currently. It's coming up to like 5:45, and I seen a sign about 15 minutes ago that said Brampton was like 5 miles away still. It's like, oh yeah, that's nearly 2 hours. So I'm trying to speed walk a bit more and also run down some of the descending sections. Like, I'll be fine, but I just don't want it to be too dark by the time I'm walking around on these, and I'm kind of over it now. I want it to be, this day to be done, because all the interesting stuff's behind me, and now it is just turned into the ditch that I'm just following. So speedy does it. There are tiny amount of remains here for a place called Pike Hill Signal Tower that was built even before Hadrian's Wall, overlooking this valley, so that's pretty cool. And as you can see, there's actually a teeny bit of wall ahead as well. Okay, so officially entering Banks. I imagine it's a little village, which is close to a place called Lanercost, something like that, which is the official end of this day. And then me, unfortunately, have to walk even further to a place called Brampton, which is more developed, more of an actual town with shops and stuff, because that's where my accommodation is. So I'm getting close to the final stretch. It's just going to be getting to Lanercost and then walking the sort of, I mean, so it's not an hour, it's a little bit less than an hour, and if I really speed it, hopefully I can do it in about 40 minutes. So almost there, almost at the end. Little tiny pieces remaining going up this hill now. Hare Hill, I think it's called, this. Yeah. Let's have a look. So I've been through Banks. I'm now kind of on the way to Lanercost, which is close by-ish. Where I'm going to walk more on the actual Hadrian's Wall path, and then I can cut off and go directly down into Lanercost. That way I don't have to come back to Banks and do this part of the actual wall path. Okay, so the Hadrian's Wall path goes that way, which I am now leaving to go down this road for probably 5 or 10 minutes, which will get me into Lanercost finally, which is the end of where this video is supposed to end anyway. But I've got to go another hour, less than an hour, but another while to get to Brampton. But I'm going to end the video all here, coming down into Lanercost, because there's a cool like priory at Lanercost, which I would show, but I don't have time, so I'm going to put it in the next video when I come back up this way tomorrow. So there is a cool church priory to have a look at down in Lanercost, and that will be in the next video. So yeah, that's day 4 of the Hadrian's Wall path. Actually a really good day, surprisingly good. There was still a lot of wall to see, some stunning sections with the crags still, and then even after the crags there were some lovely areas with quite a bit of wall. So yeah, if you were doing a highlights, if you can only do a bit of Hadrian's Wall, you can't do all of it. And to be fair, that's kind of a fair thing to do, because there's not much else apart from the section. and the middle section, but I would say do 2 days and do the main crags, of which are from the day 3 video, but also day 4 as well is also excellent. So yeah, and luckily the weather's been okay for the most part. Started bad but got a lot better, and it's probably maybe just about to rain now, so I need to try and get to my accommodation fast. But anyway, yeah, I will see you in the next video. Like and subscribe as usual. Next I will be heading from here to Carlisle, the big city obviously, and then there's only one more to go to the coast, but got my eyes set on Carlisle for tomorrow, so join me in that one. Yeah,